Hey guys, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040 bringing to you another edition of the Supergirl Season 5 review series, and today I'm going to be talking about episode 8 called Wrath of Rama Khan. Now, at the end of episode 7, Supergirl finally learned that Lena had known for a long time that her and Kara were one in the same. She also learned that Lena had indeed killed Lex Luthor, and also came clean about the fact that she was very hurt at the fact that her best friend had never told her about her secret identity. So we finally saw, after weeks and weeks of teasing, we finally saw the confrontation and the payoff that we had been waiting for a very long time. Now, also in episode 7, we had seen Lena Luthor trying to seek out a weapon to use against the Leviathan, but instead Lena turned out was only at the fortress for Myriad, and that she had sabotaged most of the fortress's security equipment. And the last shot we saw before episode 7 had ended, we had seen Lena trap Supergirl in a case of ice laced with kryptonite, and we saw Supergirl just standing there very weakened and very hurt at the horrible truth that her best friend Lena Luthor had betrayed her. So overall, that was a very good episode. I thought episode 7 was probably the best one of season 5 and my favourite. So episode 8 pretty much picks up where we left off at the end of episode 7. So in a way, you could say this episode was kind of like, how do I put it, part of a two-parter. So we had episode 7, which was part 1, and now we're getting part 2 of episode 8, even though they're not credited as part 1 and 2, but I would say they are. So let's talk about episode 8, The Wrath of Rama Khan. So we kick off, just as I said, right from where episode 7 had left. We see Alex and Brainiac 5 arrive at the fortress to rescue Kara from the fortress's defences, and Kara tells them the truth about Lena Luthor, and how she had known about her secret identity for a long time. So this makes for a very, very interesting situation we have here, because not only did Kara keep the truth from Lena, but also Jean, Alex, Brainiac 5, and everybody else, and including Nia as well. So shortly after that, they track Lena to one of Lex Luthor's old hideouts, where Lena and Hope are hurrying to put the Myriad online and launch No Seer. Supergirl arrives, but the bunker begins counter-measuring against her, and Lena tells Hope to deploy them. However, the cannons plan to reload with kryptonite, and Lena tries to shut them down, something she managed to do just in time. Kara, being the good Samaritan that she is, says she is not going to give up on Lena without a fight. See, Supergirl and Superman always like to see the good in people, although I do think Supergirl might be just a little bit more guilty of that, but be it as it may. Meanwhile, at the Leviathan's base of operations, Rama Khan and Gamine talk about their present situation, with Gamine saying they need to destroy all the humans, as well as notes that the planets are all coming into alignment for the first time in a long time. She wants to unleash a volcano, and they only need the power of Akurata to do it. Meanwhile, at the DEO, Kara elaborates on how Lena found out the truth about her Supergirl's secret identity, as well as the fact she now has Myriad. Supergirl thinks she can still fix things with Lena. Jean arrives with his brother to explain why Lena needs the Myriad. Now we see him, Malefic tells him that Lena held him as a prisoner, including that he was never sent to the Phantom Zone. Brainiac 5 figures out that Lena is planning to use Q-waves to impose her will on the world, albeit in a way that will keep them from hurting others. So these Q-waves, from what we've been seeing throughout this first half of season 5, these Q-waves are a way to hit the brain patterns to stop people from lying and hurting each other. So it's kind of like, in a way, stripping them of those feelings, so making them subservient. And also, Alex is still not sure that Supergirl can save her. Elsewhere, Ramakant comes for Andrea. She resists but he offers to release her from his service after one last job. Brainiac 5 projects a hologram of Supergirl into Lena's bunker. Supergirl pleads with her, but Lena doesn't want to hear any of it. Now, this was actually quite a good scene because I know technically Kara wasn't actually in the room, it was just a hologram. She was really bearing her soul, and in some ways you can kind of see that Lena's behaviour is somewhat justified. I mean, she's hurt. She's understandably hurt. Her best friend never told her the truth, but as we all know, she's a Luthor, and we all know Luthors can't be trusted, but I do genuinely believe Kara had good intentions not to tell her. So after the hologram conversation ends, Kara isn't handling things very well and talks with Alex about things, explaining how she understands why Lena is hurting. Alex turns out to be the voice of reason and also points out the times Lena has lied too. That is very true. Alex has to treat her like a villain and reveals they put a virus in the bunker's mainframe, and Alex, being the soldier that she's prepared to take out Lena if necessary. I like the fact that even though Alex is hurt about how Lena has turned out and she feels for her sister Kara, as the director of the DEO she has to do her job and the job comes first. So I like that we got to see that side of Alex once again. I know we did see that back in season 4, but that was under a different situation, under a different set of rules. So to actually see her as the director of the DEO and supporting Kara was quite cool, so I'm really glad we got to see that. Hope and Lena go to activate the Myriad, but it doesn't work. They discover the virus. Lena blames Supergirl for this. Hope decides to try to manually activate things even if it kills her. Lena stops her and they start to work on overriding things. Supergirl goes to ask Jean for help, but he isn't sure if he can. Malefic, however, may be the key to stopping Lena. So even though Malefic was initially evil to start with, it's good to see Malefic's turned himself around and is actually coming through for these guys. So it was good to have him there. It's always good to have another set of extra hands to help out. So they want to use Malefic's Q-Waves to counteract Lena, but even though it could kill him, Malefic wants to help as he wants to make amends. Good on him. At the Central City Museum, Ramakant wants to set off a super volcano and create an extinction level event. Andrea says Supergirl could stop him, and he declares that she's not a god, but he is. He slams his staff and the ground rumbles. Akrata tries to warn Supergirl before she's yanked back by Ramakant. Brainiac 5 figures out what the staff is and figures out roughly what his plan is. The super volcano is worse than Pompeii. God, is that even possible? I hope not. Supergirl shares the Malefic idea with Alex, but she doesn't trust any of it. Understandable. Alex vents to Jean about both Lena and Malefic. Jean encourages her to let people do better. At the bunker, Lena and Hope continue their work and the ground begins to shake beneath them. At the museum, Supergirl and Jean face off against Ramakant but aren't having much luck. He starts to set things off when Supergirl locates Akrata and the staff. Jean goes after her as things start to get worse, and Alex plans to attempt the Malefic situation to spare Lena's life. So even though Alex is still treating Lena as the villain, she doesn't want anything bad to happen to her, so that was a good thing. They figure out that the access code is for Milton, and she continues to manually position the dishes. They are ready to launch. Alex deploys Malefic, who intercepts the Q-Waves only briefly. They have to turn off their psychic inhibitors. Alex turns off the inhibitors. Malefic stops the Myriad. Ramakant then pins Supergirl, and Jean is able to remove the staff and disable Ramakant. She throws him into the tar pit and then freezes it, but he reclaims Akrata and disappears. Lena is crushed that her plans didn't work. The blonde woman at the Leviathan headquarters takes the staff and observes Ramakant. Back in her lab, Lena takes out her gun and asks Hope to take the fall for her by pretending to hold Lena hostage and claim it was all her idea. Pretending to be Eve Tessmacher, she is taken away, but Alex tells Supergirl what Eve did, but they both know it was really Lena. They decide that maybe Lena can be saved after all. Malefic, meanwhile, doesn't feel like he's made up for what he's done. Jean sends him home to Mars to help with the resistance. He could be the key to restoring peace on Mars. So as Malefic leaves, we see the Monitor show up and tell Jean that he has passed the test. The Monitor also explains that he was the one that brought Malefic to Earth, and he was the test for Jean to pass. And now he is ready to face the coming crisis. And the last shot we see is at the Monitor's base, where we see Lex Luthor is alive and well, playing a game of chess. And the Monitor explains that his great mind is what will be needed to prevent the crisis from happening. And that's how episode 8 ends. So overall, very good episode. Thought it was a nice setup for the Crisis crossover. And I thought the way they handled Lena Luthor skating between being a good guy and more of a villain was handled very well. Overall, this was a really good episode. So with that all said, I'm going to leave this here for you guys. The next time I will be back will be for the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover event, where I will be reviewing all 5 parts. Parts 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And also the next time I will be reviewing a brand new episode of Supergirl will be after the crossover event. So that would be more focused on the post-crisis stuff. So what did you think of this episode? Did you enjoy it? Was there anything you liked? Was there anything you didn't like? How did you think Lena Luthor was in this episode? Do you think she can be saved or not? You know what to do, guys. Leave your thoughts and comments down below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you all next time for the Crisis crossover review series. So till then, take care everybody.